Hello, my name is Dave Bignell and welcome to my Wii review of Wii Monopoly for the Wii. Have I said Wii enough there? Yes, this is Monopoly! Indeed, everything you expect from a Monopoly game and more. This features all sorts of boards from Monopoly and some very interesting themed ones which you unlock throughout the game. It also has a Riches Edition where you get to play a new version of Monopoly under half an hour, so if you want to have a quick game you can play that, and there's also some Wii-specific mini-games. But firstly, let's have a look at all the different boards you can play on the normal game of Monopoly. Be prepared to be spun 380 degrees, or 360 if you know your maths. First up is the classic board, and as you can see, all these boards are in 3D, with an interesting background for each board. Mr. Monopoly also runs around with you while you're playing. He can get very annoying as he comments on every move you make. Unfortunately, you can't switch him off, but sometimes when I'm playing this, especially after a couple of hours, I tend to just switch the audio off. Each board has a different piece you can play with. Depending on the board, they are different themed pieces, and they make different noises out the Wii remote as you play. You can also shake the remote like a dice and throw it to roll the dice, which is a nice little feature they've put on there. The various themed boards on here get unlocked the more you play Monopoly. If you land on a property that you haven't bought before, as soon as you buy it, you collect a stamp. The more stamps you get, the more boards you unlock. So it's great. The next board we have is the World board, where you play in millions and you buy different countries from around the world. Next up is the Future board, which is Monopoly's very own prediction of the future. Aliens, technology,
sci-fi.
Yes, that's the future, according to Monopoly. You can also set up your own house rules on this, as you would with a normal game of Monopoly. You can do things like, say, if you land on free parking, you can collect the taxes, or if you land on go, you can collect twice the amount owed to you. That sort of thing, so that's really good. The other thing you can do in the game is you can auction properties with other players, and you can also trade things with other players to keep the game moving, which is really good, and actually I think works better than playing it for real, because to auction you press the button at certain points to raise the money, instead of people fighting and shouting and throwing money at each other. The next board is a personal favourite of mine, the Sweet board, where the board is made out of icing sugar, chocolates, things like that. But warning, when you play it, it does make you feel like you want some chocolate. And if chocolate isn't your thing, then cheese might be. Here's another board you can unlock. It's the cheese board, and the pieces you can play with include a cheese grater, some grapes, a glass of wine, that kind of thing. And this one also makes you feel like some cheese afterwards and some bread. Very nice board again. Obviously all the properties have been changed to different cheese-related things, and these stations are different cheese things. Yeah, so it's just all about cheese. Next up, spinning around in front of your very eyes, is the Jungle board, where you would expect to find jungle things. It's really good. This board made on stone, and leaves fall while you're playing it in a sort of 3D way. It's just really cool. And now is the Ice board, which makes you feel quite cold while you're playing it. Again, brilliantly created, very imaginative pieces on the board, and all the properties and things have been changed to ice-related humour, which is all great. You can play with up to 4 human players on here, or just 1 player with 3 computer players, or any sort of combination of that as you will. I quite like to play 2 human players and 1 computer player on different skill settings. So that's really good, and so yeah, it's great, so you can have all your friends around and play it. The only trouble is, unfortunately, you can't play it over the internet, which I thought would have been an interesting addition to that, but hey, never mind. Here's the Deco board, also a very cool board. And finally, my favourite board, the Cardboard board, which is made up of cardboard and buttons, and things have been changed, such as instead of Waterworks and the electric company, you have scissors and glue. So this is a great board, very, very colourful. The last board you unlock, and it's quite difficult to unlock it as well. But yeah, it's really, really good and really worth it. As well as these fantastic theme boards, they also have a Riches edition of the game, where you get to play Monopoly under half an hour. It's a very much a different version of the game, but I think they just put it on because Monopoly can go on, as you probably well know, for hours and hours. So if you want just a very quick sort of game on these different boards, they've put that edition on there. There's also mini games like this one's showing now, where you steer a car past obstacles. Doesn't really have very much to do with Monopoly, to be honest, these mini games, but they're just there for fun for the Wii anyway, so that's fair enough. So in conclusion, This game, I think, is absolutely brilliant. If you love Monopoly, this is an absolute must. And you're probably wondering, well, why not just buy the normal Monopoly game? But there's something about all these themed boards, and for me, because the computer does all of the maths for you involved in Monopoly, it just makes the game a lot better, in my opinion. It also makes it a bit quicker, I think, because you don't have to sort of count out all the money, get the pieces out, all that. It sounds silly, but actually it really cuts about an hour off of sometimes a 4-hour game. So it's really good. The other bonus with this is you can save your game and come back to it, which obviously with the board game you have to leave out, and that can be a bit of a pain because, you know, sometimes you get to about an hour in the game and you think, oh, I need a break. So that's really good. You can come back to it in a couple of days' time. Pick up where you left off. The negative sides of this are the Mr. Monopoly that runs around with you on the board. He can get very annoying. Sometimes you want to shoot him, but you can't switch him off, so that's annoying. Also, the music is on a sort of 5-minute loop, and after, you know, a 3-hour game, it's stuck in your head, so that can be quite annoying. So I just recommend turning the volume down there. Also, it would have been great to have seen an internet version of the game, a Wi-Fi thing where you could play with people maybe around the world, but again, maybe, you know, they just chose not to do that because some of the games go on for a very long time, and it might, you know, that's fair enough. The other thing I would have liked to have seen, actually, is a place on there where you could perhaps make your own Monopoly board, where you can put your own names onto the places. That would have been quite nice. But generally, I think this game is fantastic. If you're a Monopoly fan, this is a must. It's very cheap, I think, at the moment. It's been out for a year, but I noticed on places like HMV and Amazon they have dropped the price quite down, so it's a very nice buy. Hours and hours of fun, a great party game, and it's a great sort of lazy Wii game. After you've done a lot of Wii tennis, it's nice just to sit down, play a bit of Monopoly, either on your own or with friends. So I give this a 9 out of 10, which is amazing. It's a great game. They've certainly put a lot of imagination into it. And, yeah, they've reinvented Monopoly. Please subscribe to my Wii reviews. You can do this by visiting my YouTube channel, or indeed www.davebignell.co.uk/wii.htm. More reviews coming soon.